Gardener and I have too many fruits. Please help, he says, to distribute them. So all of us have a garden, and apparently we even have the seeds inside. I just need to let them blossom. Did you feel your japa today going well? Who felt your japa going well today? Okay, thank you. Why? You think that was the case?
We prayed for each other.
Others prayed for us. That's the reason, I think. I'm convinced, 100% convinced, devotees' prayers are super powerful. Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu said, every member of ISKCON is authorized to give blessings. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. Madhurya Kadambini is, what is the meaning of Madhurya Kadambini?
Sweet cloud bank.
Sweet cloud bank, yes. So we have clouds and they are sweet, which is very special. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is such a merciful genius. He's always trying to help us to advance in every way. So this is his small book. Also, that's another manifestation of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's genius. He writes many small books. He also says specifically that I write them in simple Sanskrit, so that all Bengali Vaishnavas can understand. He doesn't write some too complicated grammar. Doesn't use overly complicated grammar. Makes it quite understandable for everybody. So the first part glorified the super excellent sweetness of bhakti as the first class method. So the first class is when we make two decisions. So what are the two decisions to make bhakti first class?
We do it for the purpose of pleasing Krishna.
Yes, that's the heart of bhakti. Yes. But no, that's not what makes it first class. That's what makes bhakti bhakti. Yes, I said, yes, I tried to scare everybody yesterday saying that the biggest mistake a devotee can make is to think that bhakti is
To please Krishna.
no, not to think that. The biggest mistake a devotee can make is to think that bhakti is some activity that pleases Krishna. Yes. It's very simple, but it's very subtle. It's super simple. It's so simple you can miss it, as they say. So simple you can even miss it. So activity that pleases Krishna is great, but to make it bhakti we have to add also anukulyena, the intention to please Krishna. But then when you have these three, if you add two more decisions, then it becomes first class. When we say pure bhakti, it makes us scared because they say, who, me pure? No. Prabhu, who is a pure devotee? I'm not. So then we can use first class, right? First class bhakti, that seems okay. Let's do the first class bhakti. So to make it the first class bhakti, we make two decisions. Yeah? We accept Krishna as our ultimate goal, even if I have many other desires. And we accept bhakti as my shelter, as the process that brings me everything. Yeah? So when we make these two decisions, it becomes first-class bhakti. Can you agree that Krishna Loka is the best destination? Going to Krishna is the best. Who can agree that Krishna Loka is the best, the worthiest? Who can agree that Krishna Bhakti is universal and Krishna Bhakti includes everything and can bless you with everything? Congratulations. This is called first-class Uttama Bhakti. Yes. Or pure Bhakti. Yeah, just making these two decisions is making it pure Bhakti. You just have to make it again and again. Reprioritize and trust, put our trust. Again, this is not to, in our society, it's very unfashionable to say we are pure devotees. It's completely politically incorrect. Yes, we must say, first of all, we must say we are not devotees at all. Not to speak about pure devotees, right? So therefore, don't argue, don't start debates with people. But at least for our practice, this is what we need to do. Who has attained full perfection through the process of praying? Akrura. Have you read Akrura's prayers in Krishna book or the 10th canto? I remember I read it and I was shocked when Akrura says, "Oh Lord, you're the Supreme Personality, you're so amazing, and I'm your pure devotee." So the first time I read it, I thought, my God, what is he saying? It is such a no-no, you know. They say, I'm a pure devotee. Come on. What is this? But it's a humble statement. Basically what it means that I have no other goal but you and no other process but bhakti. So it's not a proud statement, it's a humble statement. If you, I mean, that... Huh?
If you understand it properly.
Yes. So in other words, pure bhakti is the path. It can mean a very high level, or it can mean a path of the first class process. Okay, so then in the next chapter, or the next shower, the next rainfall, you can say, vrishti, the next rainfall of nectar. Our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this pure bhakti, first-class bhakti, is a wish-fulfilling creeper appearing in the field of our consciousness, of our senses. It fulfills all desires. It brings all possible and impossible blessings. Of course, we should not mistake, so we will see this will be one of the problems. So this chapter 2 describes from stages from what to what? Shraddha, no. I'm saying chapter 2. Shraddha to Prema is the whole book. The first establishes Shraddha and then into the process, and then the second describes after Shraddha comes Sadhu Sangha, after Sadhu Sangha comes Bhajana Kriya, and after Bhajana Kriya comes Anartha Nivritti. So this helps us see what's happening there. And we will read about the six problems arising in the heart as we practice devotional service. And one of the problems, nowadays it's popular to speak about the curse of success. Sometimes you can see some companies become very successful, super successful, then they become more successful, then even more successful, and then they fall down because they become so successful they cannot maintain that level of success. So they overgrow their capacity. So bhakti gives many blessings, and sometimes we are overwhelmed by these blessings. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that devotees are madhu vrata. Madhu vrata. Madhu means honey. Yeah? You have an English word, mead, which means honey wine. Honey wine. And vrata means a vow. So devotees are madhu vratas. We take a vow to eat only honey. only the honey of pure bhakti. Only the honey of pure devotional service. In other words, or nectar. In other words, when some of the other blessings come, we do not forget that they are side effects. So all kinds of blessings will come in devotional service. You can become glorious. You can you can have mystic powers also. You can develop a deep understanding. You can have peace. You can have power or success or wealth. And all of these, to some extent, larger or smaller extent, can and should be used in Krishna for serving Krishna. But we should not forget that they are a side effect. They are, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, they are not a sought result, nicht die gesuchte. They are not the desired. They are not our aim. Yeah, because usually, as soon as we aim at Krishna, so many good things come, and then they become so good and good and good, we forget about the aim. So our process is that, yes, thank you, and not forget to aim at Krishna again. And if it holds us back, then you decide how long you want to hang back or no. So a wish-fulfilling creeper is this very gentle plant. Yes. And another comparison is a touchstone. So a touchstone, we also call it chintamani or philosopher's stone, which turns iron into gold or fulfills desires also. So it's another comparison. So here, because a simple touchstone, so in Europe you have a long tradition of alchemy, of turning iron into gold. Although actually it seems that was also a spiritual pursuit. Apparently they were also mostly mystics, and getting simply gold was just some also side effect. The real gold was golden qualities. That was the true result of proper pursuit of alchemy. So as touchstone turns iron into gold, so bhakti can turn our iron-like, some base metal-like qualities, or even disqualifications or defects, into the gold-like good qualities. Pure golden spiritual qualities. Okay, so this is the blessing. These are the blessings of bhakti. So then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur discusses how bhakti lata, when it appears, then the first two leaves appear, and the first two leaves are the first two of the 6 qualities of bhakti. So that's all based on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the nectarian ocean of bhakti rasa. And the first two obviously are, actually we should, yes, let us edit. Hare Krishna. Actually, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, this has been prepared by Urmila Devi. This, yes, she's generously sharing. So this is Klesha Ghni. So Gni or Ghataka means to kill. And what does bhakti kill?
Suffering.
Suffering, all the miseries, yes. So therefore Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will mention the 5 kleshas, the 5 sufferings. And we have them in the Bhagavatam 3rd canto, Tama Moha Mahamoha, Tamisranda Tamisra. Brahma creates first 5 coverings of ignorance, and they match the 5 kleshas of the Yoga Sutra, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. And this is also why, that's also in the Nectar of Devotion, this is why bhakti is the best method, this is the NOD material, why bhakti is the best method to remove the suffering. Here's another one. Somebody hid it there. Why? Because it removes the basis. Just like if you remove a foundation of something or the ground, everything will be removed. So bhakti removes avidya. So that's why all the other forms of suffering naturally vanish, will naturally vanish. So the 5 types of suffering, so this is Yoga Sutra, Patanjali, this is also Sankhya, you can also see this is the Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto. So the first is avidya, ignorance. Ignorance of what?
Our real identity.
Yes, our real identity. So in the Bhagavatam it's called tama. We are getting into darkness. We are getting into darkness and we don't see who am I, what is happening. Mother Narayani, when she was teaching, she was teaching? She had some heart surgery. And she had, so they put her in under narcosis, general anesthesia, and she didn't go under immediately. They gave her a double dose, so she couldn't come out for several days out of coma. And she said it matched something she was just studying and teaching in Srimad Bhagavatam. So she says when she first woke up in that coma, in that narcosis, all she could feel and see was darkness, and she couldn't understand who am I, where am I, what is happening. She couldn't understand anything. She didn't know who I am. And then she was wondering, what is this? There was just darkness and nothing else. But she is such a devotee of the holy name. She's been doing japa workshops since forever. And so she's always very serious about doing her japa. Usually she does in Srila Prabhupada Samadhi. So therefore, in that darkness, all of a sudden, she saw the shining effulgent letters, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then she realized, oh, there is Krishna. Oh, there is the holy name. Oh, I am a devotee of Krishna. Oh, I am Narayani Dasi, okay. So it was the proper Sankhya, theistic Sankhya. First Krishna, and then from Krishna, then you understand everything else. And then gradually she came out. So otherwise, we, out of ignorance in this darkness, we build some false ego, asmita. Asmita means I am. Literally, asmita is so asmi in German you would say bin. Aham asmi. Asmi is bin. I am. So asmita is emness. In some Slavic languages, like in Slovenian, you say jas sem. So still some echo from Sanskrit. Sam, I think in Croatian you say sam, that it means I am. So asmita means amness, some false ego, and we have all kinds of false egos. I am a man, I am a woman, I am old and sick, I am young and strong, whatever. And then, based on this false ego, we have attachments, raga, desires, attachments. And because we have attachments, we will have dvesha, we will hate something. The obstacles to fulfilling our desires. And when you take all of this together, it becomes a tight net or mesh trap. And abhinivesha means absorption. Absorption. So because we are so absorbed with so many desires and aversions, we are afraid of any change. So we are always in fear. Anything that threatens our situation seems rather fearsome. So in the Bhagavatam, this is called so tama, moha. Moha means illusion. Maha moha. So possessiveness, considering that something is mine. Yeah? And this is tamisra, called, it's translated as anger. And this andhata misra, so fear of death. That's usually how it's translated. And you can often see that the first thing that a devotee will be relieved from will be this fear of death and fear of change. Because there is a big death and there is a small death every night. Every morning you wake up, you have to begin again. Who am I? Oh my God. Oh, and you do the Lord Brahma's program, you know, okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh yeah, okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Lord Brahma, you know, he wakes up, he's totally groggy, you know, like, where? And then he hears tapa, chant, okay, chant, Hare Krishna, Hare. And then Govinda, he gets darshan, aha, and then he has the Bhagavatam class. Of course, for him, 4 verses is enough. Chaturshloki. Ah, okay. Yes, and then service.
This is every day.
Every day. Hare Krishna. I mean, you have this experience, no? I don't know, not mentioned. So, usually the first thing that will be removed is this fear of death and fear of some changes. That devotees usually are not so afraid, either of dying or of some change. Right? Any comments, questions here? Are you afraid of death? Anyway, if you were afraid, you would not laugh if every time I say we are one day closer to death. We are 1 week closer to death. And devotees, yeah, ha, 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 ha. So these are the 5 kleshas. And bhakti is the best because it immediately attacks the root of all the suffering, avidya. Avidya, which is the basis, the foundation of our elaborate, beautiful palace or fortress of different sufferings. So klesha, ghni. Ghni means it kills the kleshas. So, why? Because we understand it not just attacks our false assumptions, it gives you the reality that, I'm dasa daso, dasa dasa no daso, dasoham. Not only you're said who you are not, we understand who you are, who we are. Oh, I'm a servant of the ocean of nectar, the beloved Lord of the gopis. Servant of a servant. Oh, okay. Because of this positive, no other process offers you such a positive support on the side of transcendence. So bhakti is extremely powerful in that regard.
It said in the Bhagavatam that when the soul leaves the body, it has to penetrate through all these layers. Like first the gross layers and then the subtle layers. So which layer is first?
Well, you can see that the biggest is false ego, and behind it even bigger Mahatattva. Mahatattva is a very interesting, well, actually, yes, that's it, Avidya. Yes, Mahatattva. So false ego, so first you have earth, water, fire, and they are 10 times bigger, 10 times bigger. They are huge. And then false ego, it can't even say how huge it is. It's so 10 to the 6th degree, so that's 1 million times bigger than the whole universe. Yeah, that sounds about right. My ego is 1 million times bigger. That sounds about right, right? This universe is nothing compared to to my ego. I'm surprised it fit into this room. I don't know. But Avidya or Mahatattva is even 10 times bigger, because Mahatattva is this infinite potentiality. Everything is possible. That's the level of Lord Brahma or Brahmaloka. All options are open. Every option is open. However, again, this penetration is the normal jnana or yoga path. Who was asking yesterday about, oh, that was Nana Kumar. Nana Kumar? Yes. So that's the jnana or yoga path. You go from the bottom up. Remove this, then the next one, then the next one. But bhakti is so amazing that you remove first the upper ones. Do you want to be Brahma? Who wants to be Lord Brahma? And be busy for the next 311 trillion years building and rebuilding this sandbox of the universe. You want? Okay. So only one person, you can see. But I'm sure he has some good motive for it. we need at least one in the universe, you know. Yes. Yeah. It's good. Otherwise, Krishna himself has to become Brahma, you know. In our universe, we didn't find anybody to do the work of Lord Shiva. If somebody is 100 times more qualified than Brahma, one can even be Lord Shiva. So it's very rare to find someone who is willing to do this. Even Brahma, not always you find. So in our universe, it's Vishnu himself who comes as Shiva, Lord Shiva. So usually we remove, Abrahma Bhuvanal Loka, Krishna says, do not be attached to any birth in this universe, because all of them are Punaravartinorjuna, up and down, taking birth and dying. So it's a very interesting mystical thing, because actually, full disclosure, I've heard about it. Sorry. I've heard about it in a Sufi article about the school of Naqshbandi. Naqshbandi? Naqshbandi was one Sufi, right? So they say that this is the modern process. Previously, they were moving from one step to the next step and becoming more powerful, mystic powers. Then I remember I saw some movie, I think black and white, about some Swiss mystic 100 years ago who was walking around, and there was something about seeing a priest who could turn iron into gold. Yeah? So it was I can't remember who it was. Who?
I don't know.
Maybe. Bruno Gröning. Sounds. I think I got it from Chakra.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay, okay, yeah.
He lived in Switzerland.
He was traveling, right? Anyway, it's the classic expectation. If you're a mystic, then show me something. Show me something mystical. My classmate, after 5 or 6 years in Krishna consciousness, we met. So he said, okay, so you've been doing this Krishna consciousness for 6 years. Show me something. Do something. Can you do some magic? It's expected, right? But that's not the recommended process, because we can be delayed at every step. We can be distracted by all of these things. So therefore, the modern process, you remove the Brahmaloka attachments, then Indraloka attachments, then Gandharvaloka attachments, and from the top down. And then when the human covering is removed, then you go straight to Krishnaloka. You don't have to be delayed on all of these intermediate layers. So in other words, there is a gradual, and we sort of begin from the other side, from Krishnaloka, and then it helps us to be free from attachments. Okay. And again, the medicine here, dasa dasoham, dasana dasoham. I think this was recommended by our Shachinand Maharaj, who said that that's his medicine. I think sometimes we do this as homework, that if you have some difficulty or trouble, try meditating on this magic formula. I'm Krishna Das, Das Anudas. Yeah? I'm Krishna Das, Das Anudas. Yes? So whatever problem you have, try to, problem is like a disease, and medicine is like a cure. You put them together and they neutralize. Actually, this is it's not even medicine. Medicine also is usually disappearing. I'm mixing this with one old, from the 6th patriarch of Chan Buddhism, who said, ego is the disease and the world is the cure. And together they neutralize each other. Nothing is left. Here, das, and das is left. That's the reality. It's better than just medicine.
It seems like dasa are made of 2 syllables. What does da and sa mean?
That's a joke. It's an old joke, because the Mayavadis, they love this soham. They love it. There are whole movements with millions of people in India who go around and soham, 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 soham. They try to meditate on this, yeah? So sometimes they write soham. So then devotee sees this soham, so he comes and writes, no, da soham. So then again the monist comes, no, he writes sa, da, so. Always I am that. Sa means he, I am that, I'm him, I'm God. So he says, sada soham, always I am him, I'm God. So when Bhakta comes, sees this, and then no. And he writes, dasa. I'm a servant of a servant. That's who I am. So this is sort of a joke.
So sa means he and da means the servant.
Dasa means the servant. So you add da to sa, and that's the proper understanding. And you can see in the Bhagavatam, soham comes sometimes, but it always comes in this meaning of dasoham. I am that little particle who is always connected in loving service to the Lord. We do have also about Da, that was Taittiriya Upanishad. The demigods, demons, and humans come to Lord Brahma and they study, and then at the end they say, "Oh Lord, tell us, what's the conclusion?" And he says, Da. And they say, oh, thank you, thank you. So he checks, do you understand? They say, yes, explain. So then the demigods say, da means daya. No, daya, dana, dhamma. Dhamma. Da means dhamma, self-control. Because we have too much to enjoy. Too much to enjoy. Like you here in Switzerland. I don't remember. I think you have some good and cheap chocolate, right? You have good expensive, but even good and cheap, right?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah. So you have to remember, no. Not too much. Or not at all, depending on your sampradaya. Dhamma, self-control, yes? Because they have so much to enjoy. Then demons, they say da, you said da. Da means daya, be merciful. We tend to be violent as demons. So no, daya, da means daya, mercy. And humans said, no, da means dana, charity. Because we humans, we are never sure what's going to happen tomorrow. So we tend to collect, you know? So therefore, no, charity, give, help. And then, so that's, you know, the Upanishadic explanation of da. So it's the beginning and then different. And he says, yes, dear sons, you got it right. Good, you understood. It's quite interesting. He gave one syllable and according to their position, they supplied the actual, because usually we take the opposite, you know, what I don't need, but he needs. You know, what's easy for me, like for demigods, it's easier to be merciful. So they could have easily said, we should be merciful. And demons could say we should be self-controlled or something, right? But no, they took what's difficult for each one of them, what's challenging for each one of them. But that's, yeah, it's... It's a story that's interesting, but maybe not so central to our topic. Yesterday, Yagya Goranga from Canada wrote to me that I've watched your lecture. Thank you, good. But when you look into your computer, you stop what you are saying 4 times. So he says, devotees are kind, but if it were non-devotees, then it would be a defect. So I should stop and then finally press here to remove this red line at the bottom. Okay. Okay, so bhakti is kleshagni. These are the first two, like you must have seen some beautiful plants when they come. Beautiful, gentle 2 leaves appear first. Yeah? So on the creeper of bhakti also, the first 2 creepers that begin at sadhana, not even at perfection, from the very beginning. One is kleshagni, removal of suffering. The other is shubhada, shubha. What means shubha? Auspiciousness, all auspiciousness. So everything good. It gives you all good. Auspiciousness, you understand what's auspiciousness? It's one word, this word I've never heard before Krishna consciousness. It's a rare word. Nobody usually uses this auspiciousness, yes. But it's such a prominent word. Auspiciousness. Glücksverheißend. Yes. You see, 6,000 times in the Veda base, 6,000 times you have auspiciousness. And auspiciousness is 1,000, okay. So in Sanskrit and in Hindi, you have this word, and in all the Indian languages, you have 20,000 times. My God, auspicious. It's like at the top, I don't know, 30 words. And you have so many mangala Swastyayana, Shubha, Kalyana. You have so many ways to say auspicious. For us, auspicious. What is auspicious? Not very auspicious, our vocabulary. What do you know the French for auspicious? Basically, it's something that gives you good fortune, producing good fortune. This is the idea. So that's bhakti, auspicious. And it's explained 4 types of auspiciousness. One is it makes you happy, makes you kind, makes you attractive, and gives you all the good qualities. Whatever good qualities exist, bhakti gives you. Like, you found? Prometteur. Okay. So, Jiva Goswami gives an interesting comment in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. You have Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu there, hiding these 2 volumes there, here. See? So there he says, why do you have to say separately that a devotee is kind if you have already said that all the good qualities are obtained? Being kind is one of the good qualities. He says, you know why? Because all the good qualities come from being kind. It's the essence of all the good qualities. But it's clear to you because definitely you were praying, right? I'm sure you were praying. At least I know somebody was praying because most of us had better japa today. I don't know, either all or some or half, or somebody was praying. So that's, Prabhupada said, this is the Vedic mission. May everybody be happy. Swastyastu Vishwasya Kalah Prasidat, or that's the Bhagavatam, 5:18-9. Or Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, may everybody be happy. Okay, so these are two first leaves, and he adds such a sweet point here. He said, just like a leaf has 2 sides, each leaf. So he says, one side is rough, so the outside is a little rough, and the inside is very delicate, very soft. So he says, this is Vaidhi sadhana, and this is Raganuga sadhana. So both are there. Hare Krishna. Vaidhi and Raganuga sadhana bhakti. Congratulations. Welcome to the club of Bhakti Yoga Sadhana. Whether it is Vaidhi or Raganuga, it is all auspicious. So it can progress. Yes.
Like to take the letter a little bit down and you can.
So, like this. Hey. So regarding Raganuga, this is your birthright in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Should be one more. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunaya Vatirna Kalo. He's coming to bestow this secret of Raga Marg, and Raganuga is also a sadhana. It is rare, but you can see that Srila Prabhupada is doing everything to help us, because it's practically impossible to find any volume in Srila Prabhupada's books where he doesn't speak about Vrindavan and where he doesn't speak about Radharani. You can take any book and look at the index in the back, and you will see Radharani is mentioned everywhere, and even in Ishopanishad, where it says, the Lord is the all-powerful, all-pervading. So Prabhupada says, this is verse 8 in Ishopanishad, so Prabhupada says, the purpose of life is to go to this Lord and join his rasa dance. Or he says, the Lord is super powerful. Prabhupada says, yes, when he was 7 years old, he lifted Govardhan. and he killed Aghasura. Again, he brings it all to Vrindavan. So we shouldn't do this artificially, we shouldn't fantasize, but by regular exposure to the 5 most powerful methods, we can finally gain this attraction to Vrindavan. So this is, you can see, or maybe not, Kusum Sarovar, where Uddhava still resides. He asked for a blessing to be there as a blade of grass. Yeah, he was the top professor in the universe, and he was sent by Krishna to Vrindavan, and then he requested, oh, I want to be a blade of grass so that the gopis shed their dust, food dust on my head. So he's there. It goes beyond the scope of this book, or difference between Vaidya and Raganuga. One thing is clear, we have to be, wie sagt man das? Zielstrebig oder? Kann man so sagen? Wie sagt man das auf Englisch? Zielstrebig. That you are determined, yeah. Goal-oriented, eager to go to a good place. Anyway, so so in other words, set a good goal. Prabhupada says we should be attracted in chapter 8 of the Gita. We should be attracted. Maybe not immediately, but as soon as you, as long as you have this goal and you try to know more and more about this goal, then maybe this desire will develop spontaneously more and more. But on one side, by purification, by removing all the garbage that's lying on the way and impeding our progress. On the other side, by having clarity, and then sooner or later it will kick in. Right? That we will be more and more attracted. And if we are going through a period of struggle, which may happen, happens at least 2 times in spiritual life, that you go through the valley of despair. First is just despair, second is the dark night of the soul when Krishna hides from you. Yes, so then you just continue. Then you just continue no matter what. Yes, no matter what. And then Krishna is kind. Okay, Hare Krishna. Have we reached our valley in your energy levels and attention levels? If yes, good, then we can discuss Raganuga Sadhana, so we don't make it too controversial. You can just relax, take a nap, and I'll speak about it. Anyway, a short and straight definition of Raganuga Sadhana is when you are spontaneously attracted to follow a specific, when you really like, naturally, not in an artificial way, really like naturally to follow some devotee, some mood in Vrindavan. Some devotee in Vrindavan. Of course, Jiva Goswami, strangely enough, he gives practically all the devotees in Vaikuntha as the examples of raga. He says Kumaras, Prahlad, they're all ragatmika, which is very unusual. Normally, he does say that ultimately pure raga, only Vrindavan. Like full pure raga, that's only Vrindavan. But he does say, yeah, Kumaras, they are spontaneously attracted. So when you are attracted by some mood, then you, when you want to follow it, then that's Raganuga Sadhana. But again, it's not artificial. Some people try to do this artificially, and it doesn't, you cannot force it. Madhusudan, not Madhusudan, Mukund, there's one commentator on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Madhusudan. He says that it's more rare than bhava bhakti, than the perfection on the path of Vaidhi sadhana. And the actual, so how to say, we should embrace wholeheartedly the path of Raganuga sadhana or Raga Marg, somewhere between asakti and bhava. At asakti, you are very eager. So that's a very natural place to completely embrace the path of raga. Before that, if you are lucky, okay, good. It's not impossible. And Prabhupada is very generous in the Nectar of Devotion. He says that at least after anartha nivritti, wait till anartha nivritti is done before you can pursue this Raganuga sadhana. Otherwise, before that, we will fantasize. We will embrace some goal based on the false ego. You will see who is the top, the gopis. I feel I'm a gopi. or I will either the top or, okay, gopis may be somewhat risky because, you know, he heard about the Gopi Baba Club, this, so maybe I'm a covered boy. It's more safe, right? Okay. Or as Bhakta Charles said, you know, the gopis, they don't sleep, they don't eat, the whole night they work. It's too much. I want to be a boy. You know, you know, Bhakta Charles. This is a joke. Okay. So these are the 5 kleshas removed. This we discussed. Okay, so let's have a little break. 10 minutes, and then we'll continue after the break. This one?
Bring the lunch for 1 o'clock.
Actually, today, because So usually we suffer because of karma, but karma is based on the false ego, and the false ego is based on ignorance. So bhakti removes ignorance, so therefore forget about karma. That's so. This is the same as in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the different stages of sin. So we have just the seed, and then seed which, like a tendency that's beginning to manifest, and then prarabdha that's manifest. Karma, usually manifest karma is this, this, the body with some inbuilt schedule. Yes, already the schedule is there. Expiry date, They say, after 40 something years, just sitting in the lotus asana, lotus meaning that both feet up, I tore my meniscus. So I went studying, and they say, that's it. After 40, it doesn't even matter if you do exercise or anything. You can just walk around the table and tear your meniscus. You don't even have to do something special to get an injury. So that's prarabdha. That's prarabdha. However, a devotee, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, has no karma. So why do we suffer? Right? That's the question. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, these are the good quotes. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that these are not suffering, not miseries due to your karma. This looks like your karma, but the basis is different. So the classic comparison from the Vedanta, is it on? Is there? Mm-hmm. Classic comparison is in Vedanta Sutra is cloth, like silk cloth, which is burnt or singed. You put it on fire, then it's burnt, but the threads are still looking like they are going in the same direction as before, but they cannot bind you. Right? So that's the karma of a devotee. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says it's in case of a devotee, it's Krishna's mercy, and in the first canto, Srila Prabhupada says this is like punishment under the personal supervision of the father. So the king punishing a criminal and the king punishing a son is different. Yes. King punishing a criminal, he really wants, he just, in the American English, they have this expression, the judge throws the book at the criminal, throws the book. Basically, he says, this is the article, go to hell, to prison and suffer. Throws the book, And so that's impersonal criminal law. But if it's his son, then he looks, does he change? Does he understand the mistake? And then, as soon as he understands, then it's removed immediately. So, therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is adamant. Devotees have no karma.
I have a problem with this term. Everything is Krishna's mercy. So now devotee free from karma, and then he has some disease. So, as example, he behaves not properly, he don't exercise, he eats always too much sugar, and then he gets diabetes, and then he says, oh, that's Krishna's mercy, he gave me this disease, and it's like a revelation from him, a heavenly disease he sent at me. So how to understand this mercy? Is this Krishna's mercy, or we have still our free will, and can you maybe give some help?
That reminds me of my Bhakta leader. I did some mistake, and I said, well, it's all Krishna's plan. He said, it's not Krishna's plan, it's your mistake. Meaning that, yes, we should not be foolish. We should use our God-given intelligence, yes. And we can also we will be punished for our mistakes. But the point is that it's different. It's under Krishna's supervision. So, in other words, what is karma? The result of karma is basically more ignorance and more bondage. Whereas a devotee, even if a devotee makes a mistake, he still usually will grow closer to Krishna. Even if he eats too much sugar, gets sick, gets this or that, he will not stop reading the books, and he may even understand, oh, I should have exercised more or something. Yes. So he will still be able to continue in his devotional service. Whereas in karma, if you do something stupid, you're jerked down, down, down. So therefore, obviously the results will be there, but and Krishna will certainly teach us, but it will not block our progress. Yeah?
What is the systematic approach to find the cause of one's suffering?
Yes. The systematic approach is that you already know the cause of your suffering. What's the cause of my suffering? My own stupidity. We will also now come to the 4 types of anarthas. Also, we don't have to find the exact cause. No need to find the exact cause if you know the universal solution, because oftentimes that's the game of the mind. The mind will tell you, you must have done some offense, and what was this offense? Oh, maybe this was an offense, or maybe that was an offense. And it drives you more and more depressed and less enthusiastic and inspired, more and more self-absorbed, morose, hopeless, apathetic, having no energy. So, and it's very often in the mind, and it doesn't have a real solution. And it's just going in circles. Go to Krishna and say, Krishna! So you do the best you can, avoid offenses, avoid all the bad things, and take shelter in Krishna. And then gradually, whatever was the cause, it will be mitigated by Krishna.
So we get some difficulties so we can learn out of it, right?
Art of?
To learn out of it. Right?
And the main thing to learn is to go to Krishna.
Surrender
to Krishna, yes. But take shelter in Krishna.
So basically, every problems we get in devotional life.
That's the only solution. Yes. Basically, there are 3 solutions in the world. 3 solutions. What are the 3 solutions? It's not a joke, it's a philosophical question. Joke is coming, but... Huh?
Surrendering to Krishna.
Surrendering to Krishna.
Surrendering to Krishna.
Well, the most popular 2 solutions are jnana and karma. Jnana and karma. One is, we try harder. There is trouble, we work harder. And then harder. And if some trouble, even harder. Yes? So that's the karma solution, which is good, but Maya is too strong. You cannot wrestle with Maya. So that's one. The other solution, let's analyze it. I'll figure it out. Just let me think. What happened when I was 4 years old? If I understand, then I can avoid and I can go there. So jnana and karma. These are the 2 solutions. Try to understand or just try harder. And what does Raghunath Das Goswami say? Satcheshta Kashta Pradavikata Pashalibirha Prakamam Kamadi Prakata Padapadi Vyati Karai Gale Badvahanyeham Iti Bhagabidvartma Vagane Kuru Tvam Putkaran Avadi Sayata Tvam Manaita. He says, "O mind, when you are attacked by the highway robbers," there are 6 highway robbers. What are the 6 highway robbers on a dark road? This is lust, anger, greed, envy, madness, and illusion. Yeah? And they attack. So what we can do? We can either fight with them. I can remember, yes, when I was 13, I went 3 times to the karate lessons, and maybe now I can, like, But there are 6 of them, and they are really, so it's not so, or let me, psychoanalyze them and, talk to them and convince that it's not in your interest, you better go away, leave me alone. So both approaches are, not very effective. But there is a third approach. What's the third approach? Third approach, he says, just say, Krishna! Immediately. And they get scared and run away. Try it. Let's say, Krishna! Gauranga! Nityananda! Jai Jai Shri Radhe! Shyam. You sound a little unconvinced. So they may not run away. You have to be really convinced. Try it, actually. Yes. So that's Raghunath Das Goswami's recommendation. That's what you do. So that's the bhakti solution. So in other words, don't try to either, control it, because the mind is stronger, and not even try to figure out, because gahanohi karmana gatihi, it's all so complicated for millions of lives, so difficult to figure out all the knots. But instead, take shelter in Krishna, and then he can solve all the trouble.
This is just one little thing. What does it really mean to take shelter?
Krishna! Yeah, take shelter in Krishna. Turn to Krishna and do your best and depend on Krishna for the rest. Go to devotees, these 5. Bhagavat Shravan, Sadhu Sangha, Mathuravas, meaning also the temple, Namakirtan, Shimurti Shradaya Sevan, these 5, the most powerful.
So what does one do if he has trouble with doing these 5 things? It's not working properly. The mind is so strong.
Yeah, tell the mind, you are so strong. Please, it's horrible. Yes, dear mind, it's horrible. Don't fight with the mind. Don't argue with the mind. Say, yes, it's bad. Yeah, very bad. Yeah, we will deal with this. For now, let's. Yes. Don't fight with the mind, because the mind will say, no, you cannot ignore me. You cannot ignore me. Look, it's aparada. Look here, pay attention, fight with me. But it's like, again, when you fight with the pig, you both get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. So don't fight with the pig. You say, yo. Very, very bad. Oh, so bad. Let's chant a little Hare Krishna. Let's go to devotees. Like, with, clever mother with a child. Oh, yeah. Take this candy or something.
I think there's a saying that if you want to win the war, you don't have to win every little battle.
Yes.
You have to sometimes see, oh, okay, we are too weak in this situation. We cannot win. So you make a mistake, but you still keep the war.
Yes.
You try to win the war.
And this is the famous saying that the problems cannot be solved on the same level they were created upon. Yeah? So turning to Krishna, you're moving to the next level. Because on that level, how can you solve them? But when you take help of Krishna, then Krishna can do anything. It's like Prahlad Maharaj says in Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. Actually, that's an interesting... I should ask Shikrashtaka to read Hari Bhakti Sudodaya next. He says that devotees turn to Krishna consciousness, turn to bhakti. People take to bhakti and they begin practicing bhakti. They feel ecstasy, they feel joy. And then after some time, their lust, anger and greed grow to the sky, becoming like the Himalayas. And most people become scared, helpless, hopeless, and give up bhakti. But they miss the whole point. Whereas some people persevere, they keep going and take shelter in Krishna. You know, this is like the, they take shelter in Krishna, and then when they take shelter in Krishna, then all of a sudden these Himalayas shrink in size. They shrink and become small. It's like the famous diagram of the material problems. You know this diagram of the material problems? I think we already did it before. So our material problems are like this. Ah! It's all black! Ah! Only black! Nothing but black! That's our perspective. That's our perspective. But when you just add bhaktas, you know, like pa-boom and pa-boom, pa-boom, pa-boom. Okay, there is a dot. And if you add Krishna, you have to, you need a telescope. It's there, same black, same trouble, but the perspective is different. That's why going for a trip to the mountains is so good. Because you go to the mountains and then you see beautiful high mountains, and then far away there is some village and there is some houses, teeny houses with teeny windows, and there's a teeny people in one of those rooms. And that teeny person in teeny room thinks, oh, I have such a huge problem. So you gain a perspective. But if you look from the point of view of Brahma, or to speak of Mahavishnu, you know that Brahma's 1 second is ours 100,000 years. That's his 1 second. For us, 100,000 years. We don't even have history for 100,000 years. It's hard even to imagine what's 100,000 years. So gaining perspective. That's what we apply to this.
So this is with material problems, but for devotee there are coming spiritual problems, like when you have to serve the spiritual master, and then he has a problem. Then
that's the trick of the mind. The mind will say, "Don't ignore me. Don't ignore me. No, you must fight with me. No, this what I'm doing now, what I'm thinking now, this picture that I have now, it's very, very dangerous. You must fight with me. Stop it." And then but as soon as you start fighting, it only grows. The more you fight, the more it grows. The more you pay attention. Prabhupada says in the 5th canto that the best weapon to fight the mind is to ignore it. It means to refocus onto Krishna. To instead of fighting the darkness, you gain some perspective and turn to Krishna. It's still there, but now you are reframing it into a completely different context, and you take help from Krishna. How can I control the mind myself? It's impossible. But Krishna, for him it's a cinch. So easy, right? So therefore, instead of fighting with the mind, I take shelter to Krishna, and that's the mind control. This is the first lesson that we learn in that horrible first stage of suffering. Anyway, it seems to be the time to discuss it. All right. Because it's suffering, yeah, and karma, yeah, and all right, let's have it. Where is it? Yes, this is one of my most popular seminars, Suffering in Krishna Consciousness. So, 2 kinds of Krishna's mercy. This is the one we like. This one, not so much. Anyway, it's a longer discussion about, yeah, so basically this is the diagram. Here we will discuss, this is actually from Madhura Kadamini. These are more or less the stages in devotional life. We live, we live somehow up and down, then we meet devotees and we are happy. We are happy. We are enlightened, illumined, and joyful. Yes? We start doing some devotional service, and then we meet the mind. Oh. This is what... and especially, this is 429.69. So we see the... this is a nice verse, 429.69. It says, where do I have it? Do I have it here? No. The quote, it says that you don't usually see the dark side, you don't usually see Rahu. But when there is a moon eclipse, you don't see the moon, but you see Rahu. So in the same way, in devotional service, Krishna illumines all the collected karma. And this verse is saying something nice, that Krishna gives you a chance to wipe it out with one stroke. Sounds good, no? With one stroke, wipe out all karma. Very good, right? But the problem is that first you see it. You have to see it. And it's so horrible. It's so horrifying. Even our respected Carl Gustav Jung and his wonderful followers, they say it's impossible to see the full shadow. The things inside that we deny. We say we don't have them. Always something we will keep denying. But they didn't really practice bhakti or maybe even some forms of yoga. Because here, Krishna puts a projector inside and we are horrified. Oh, what is this? Where did it come from? Before, I was a good boy. I was a good girl. And now this, this horrible, horrible stuff comes up that never happened before. And we think, why is it? Then we think, oh, maybe it's bad association with Bhakta John. Because I didn't have before, right? Must be him. But then we think, no. Maybe it's because I think so bad about Bhakta John, and this is a Vaishnava aparad, and this is the reaction. Oh, I should not think bad about him. And then you start the endless loop. It's an aparad, but then it's but maybe it's still bad association. Maybe I should avoid. Okay, but then I think badly about him, and boom, 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 and you go round and round and round and round and round and round. Down. It's horrible. It's worse than hell. Literally. It feels worse than hell. I remember going through this. I read the fifth canto descriptions of the hellish planets, and I thought, this sounds better. Here, at least you know why. It's bad, but at least you know why. And this, I don't know why. But it has always been there. It's just everything is shown, and the lesson is the same. Not to fight with it, but to take shelter in Krishna. You cannot, empty an ocean of these dark things. So you have to understand, I'm not the mind. I'm Krishna Das. I want to take shelter in Krishna, and then the mind brings all kinds of garbage, all kinds of strange things. There is even one phenomenon, how is it called? obsessive sacrilegious thoughts or something, which is characteristic only of pious people. That as soon as you look at something, at some icon, at some sacred object, bad thoughts come up. Yeah, yeah, it's a known phenomenon, and it happens only to good people. Yeah, but it's so horrible, especially for a devotee. It's so horrible, because you want to feel bhakti, and this terrible, terrible garbage is not even offensive, and we know offenses. It's a no-no. You have to avoid, and you say stop it. And they might say, this, stop this, this, I should stop this, yeah, stop it, and that, how about that? So the more you fight, the more it fights back. So here you understand, yeah, sorry, yeah. Horrible. You tell them, yeah, very bad, very bad. Let's read a little. Yeah, very bad. Let's sing a little. Let's go to devotees. Let's hang out with devotees. So then, when you stop fighting with the mind, you understand how to control the mind. Controlling the mind is not killing the mind, is not stopping the mind. Controlling the mind is turning away from the mind to Krishna. To Krishna, to devotees, to Bhagavatam, to the processes of devotional service. And then the mind, instead of being this huge darkness, you don't even find, where was it after some time? And then this is where you can actually develop good qualities. This is the next stage. You become sattvic, you develop all the good qualities, you become brahminical, yeah, and then finally you even learn to meditate, and even more, you see God. Problem is he then hides. Like Narada Muni's. 1.6.16 you see God, and 1.6.18 Krishna hides. And this is even worse. Yeah? It's even worse. Because you have gained the most valuable thing in all the universes. But I still think, I am a seer of God. I am a meditator. I am a good person. Which is good, but Krishna wants more. Krishna wants you to become your eternal self. Because it's still some false ego. It's a good ego, but false. And Krishna wants you to go further. Krishna wants you to not just be a seer of God. Krishna wants you to be an associate of God. So he hides, and then here you can no longer say, yeah, I'm good. You can no longer say I'm a seer of God. So what do you say? Ashlishyava badaratam pinashtumam. You can crush me in your embrace, O Krishna. Adarshanam marmahatam karotava. Or you can kill me, hatam, kill me by adarshana, not giving you darshan. Never. Okay, yathatatava, whatever you do, you're still my Lord. So here all your ego is gone. So then here you have Shuddha Sattva, not Sattva, Shuddha Sattva. And then you go to infinite bliss in Krishna's association. Hare Krishna.
Do you know the hero's journey?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
It's about that, no?
But I think they have only one down and up, right? Going to hell.
Meeting with God. Then they have this downfall.
Descent to hell, and so you have been warned, okay? Suffering is there. Worse. And it can feel worse. I mean, here, this suffering is worse than any suffering a non-devotee feels, actually. Because what is the suffering of non-devotee? It's some material trouble. But here, you lose your spiritual experience. It's like, having your eyes plucked out. You are like being skinned alive, or because you're losing your best spiritual experience. So it feels very, very drastic and painful. But when we understand, yeah, I'm not the mind, I'm just a servant. Dasa. That's the medicine. So you please always try to use this. Dasa dasanu dasoham. I'm a servant of a servant. See how it acts on the difficulties.
Excuse me, were there some cases in history
Of
devotees, of the Krishna consciousness that people were beginning from I'm not the mind, for example, or were over jumping these stages, or it's always this problem?
I presume there were, I guess. Maybe they have done it before. Or maybe you can go through it quickly if you already have some experience from the previous lives. Then it's just like a quick roller coaster ride. That you're up to the next stage. Oftentimes we have also this experience, when we join for some time, it's joyful, easy, everything is so clear, so nice, and we move forward so nicely, and then boom, we hit a wall. That means we have recovered what we have done in a past life. Now the work begins for this life. Sometimes. Okay.
Two questions. One is that many times devotees avoid using the word like punishment because we don't like to think of God as a punisher. Instead, they say like He's fulfilling all our wishes, our desires, even the stupid ones that are not in our best interest. Is it like this, or is it just like an euphemism not to use the word punishment? Because even a friend can punish you. And the other one is in Bhagavad Gita in 10th chapter, Krishna says that of the senses he is the mind.
Yes.
So how do we understand this?
Yeah, because he's the strongest and he is the controller of all. Nothing is stronger than the mind. Yeah? So he's the mind. Okay, chapter 10. And regarding punishment, Krishna, when we say punishment, it in our understanding always has the negative and vengeful, like it sounds like a revenge, that we made him angry, so he takes a revenge on us. So he doesn't have it. Krishna never wants to punish you just for the sake of punishment or for your mistake. He's not hunting for your mistakes. He's looking just for your growth. So if we are conflicted in our motivations, there may be some difficulty so that we give up some attachment. But otherwise, he never tries to punish for the punishment itself. Okay, so.
Just in connection to what Olga said, I've once heard that when the pure devotee comes to this world, like Srila Prabhupada, then he doesn't have to go through all the stages, like he starts after Anartha Nivritti, like he immediately starts at Nishta. Is it like that?
Do you remember where you heard it?
I just
Because if you look, Prabhupada said when he lost his factories, he quoted this 1088.8, Yasyaham anugrihnami harisheta dhanam shanai, to whom I give special mercy, I take away their wealth. So Prabhupada took it as actual roller coaster, as seen here. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, also you can see he's gone through all the apparent trouble, even though he's Kamala Manjari and he's obviously a very super special person. So maybe, but we see in many cases that they still, I understand that even though they don't have to, just so that they can show us, as you mentioned, the hero's journey, just to show us how it's done, they sincerely, genuinely, realistically go through all the experiences. Not pretending, but actually, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he did not pretend that he is a modern, educated, westernized gentleman. He sincerely was inspired, he was studying philosophy, and then he discovered Chaitanya Charitamrita, then he thought deeply, why Krishna? He was praying, and then he realized, oh, Krishna. It was not a pretense. He really went through all this, I think. Yeah? Okay, so there is more fun here. Fun is Okay, how do I... Raga, avidya, this we have. Sin, yeah, good qualities. All good qualities develop. Shraddha, different kinds of shraddha. So obviously they suggest that shraddha is best when it's based on scripture. In other words, it's very interesting. It's coming from Jiva Goswami. Natural, one is childish or borrowed shraddha, and one is spontaneous or natural. So spontaneous or natural is based on Shastra. You study Shastra, you see how it all fits together, and you decide for Krishna, naturally, organically, for yourself. You choose Krishna. So that's obviously preferred. Okay, so we have sadhu sangha, and then bhajana kriya, and we have two types of bhajana kriya. So when we perform devotional service, and there is nishtita and anishtita, and in anishtita we have the 6 wonderful, amazing descriptions, Hare Krishna, which were very surprising when I first heard about them. First is utsaha, mai. Utsaha means enthusiasm. Mai is full of enthusiasm. Full of enthusiasm, just like when we learn the first letters of alphabet and we come home and we say, yes, I know now everything. I learned four words in Sanskrit, and then I see, oh, I think I can translate this better than Srila Prabhupada translated or something. So that's why usually we translate this as false confidence. Although the Sanskrit is just enthusiasm. So as I mentioned, this is very similar to this stage. Initial enthusiasm, joy. As one devotee said, it's so wonderful to be a devotee. You walk down the streets of the city and you know everything. So be careful. Yes. Because the next one is Ganatarala. Ganatarala, thick and thin. Literally it means thick and thin. So we are happy, 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 and then Bhakta Jacob said something. And then something else happened. And what's worse, during the feast, no gulab jamuns were left. So I have doubts, what is this? How could Krishna allow it, Does he even exist, Should I tell you my story about the samosas? Yes, this was in the BBT, Druskininkai, Lithuania. Our cooks made nice samosas for breakfast. And I forgot what it was. I came a little late, and there were no samosas left. Can you imagine? It was horrible. I was very disappointed about Krishna. I went back to my room to translate, and I thought, Krishna, you couldn't keep a few samosas for me? What is this? And I was steaming inside, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I hear, and I open, and there is our driver. His name was Shatanala. He's coming. He says, Adi Purush. He says, I have 2 samosas for you. I say, why? He says, I don't know. Krishna told me, go bring these samosas. I said, ooh, sorry. sure Shatanala kept 2 samosas for himself, and I was sitting there. So Krishna said, go give them to him. I felt so ashamed. Hare Krishna. So Krishna is amazing. If I come late, for breakfast, why should I blame Krishna that all samosas have been distributed? If I wanted samosas, I should come, on time. Okay, so Ghana Tarala. One day I am enthusiastic, next day I'm morose. Then the next one is Vyudha Vikalpa. I'm fighting. Should I do this? Should I do that? Like we had one Fujari. He one day offered to marry one girl, and she said no. So then the next day he put on the saffron. At least he's still in saffron, but which is quite impressive actually. But this is the, should I do this or should I do that? On one hand, yes, I should drop everything, take sannyas, go to Vrindavan, or take Babaji, sit in the bush and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. On the other hand, no, I should support my old parents and, earn livelihood as an honest grihasta, so we fight. Vishaya Sangara. Then I'm attached to, I don't know what, paneer samosas. And I'm struggling to give up the paneer samosas. Then I chant more and more, and then I take a vow that, okay, that I will chant every day 32 rounds, or I will not eat until noon, or I will fast and completely dry fast, nirjal, on every Ekadashi. And then the next Ekadashi comes, and this cook, he makes some Ekadashi paneer samosa, for example. And I think, okay, maybe next Ekadashi. So, Niyamakshana. 1, 2, 3. So these are the five different obstacles of anishtita bhajana kriya, unsteady devotional service.
All these symptoms of unsteadiness, we cannot overcome this because we hold on this, like holding the because it's automatically goes away up when we practice longer, or we don't want to give them. Both. It's coming. Some devotees, they put them in a sequence. They say that every next one is the natural continuation after the previous. But just even learning about them, basically, it's not even the question of fighting with it's not the question of fighting with the mind. It's the question of developing a higher taste. Right? That's the main thing. So we just have to find the proper balance for all the areas. Krishna says, yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshta vabodasya. You just regulate the 4 areas, and yoga bhavati dukkha. And then yoga destroys all your suffering. So eating, sleeping, cheshta, working, and recreation, vihara. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says recreation is going for a walk to a forest. In other words, something to keep up your health. Even Srila Prabhupada, he was going for a walk every day. So you just regulate and try to increase your taste, positive taste for Krishna. And then the negative things will, of course, we have some negative things that we, all of us, like meat eating, obviously, I hope nobody has a trouble with this. And even if somebody does, nowadays, even the non-devotees, they have these, what are they called?
Beyond Meat, amazing burger, super burger. They have 20 varieties of meat replacements that meat eaters cannot distinguish, whether it's actually vegetarian or whether it's so no need even. Plus, especially if we give you a paneer samosa, who will be attached to some? Usually, it's not that we, like sometimes non-devotees, they think, oh, you're a vegetarian. Must be hard, huh? They think, I'm sitting with one carrot and they have no idea. They have thousands, and they should come to our Zurich lunch, Zurich temple lunch, or some of our. So so 4 regulative principles. These are obviously things that we avoid. Other than that, we regulate and focus on developing the positive taste, and then all the negative is removed naturally. And then once you are able to more or less find some balance, get more or less closer to being steady, comes the next one. Oh Prabhu, you are so wonderful. Mataji, you're amazing. And then Tarangarangini. So many wonderful things come, and we can swim in the waves, enjoy the waves. The side effects. The side effects of devotional service. So these are the 6 signs or symptoms of unsteady bhajana kriya. And they are part of anartha nivritti. So obviously we are not steady because of the anarthas. So there are 4 types of anarthas, and each type has 4 subtypes, 4 varieties, and this we discuss after we go and sample our Zurich temple lunch and come back at 2 o'clock. Yes? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you.